Good afternoon. We would like to start with a quiz of the Title III grant for the door prizes. Who can tell me on page 17, footnote B, diagram A, is the second number?
I don't think. 3, 1.
I don't have a door prize. She actually got it, so yeah. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I just made that up. All kidding aside, we're not here to bore you to death with all the tiny details, but what we want to do is essentially, in a way, make you kind of disciples of Title III to be able to go and tell the world. We want you to be able to know and have a basic understanding, so in your professional communications, in your community communications, that you have an understanding of this grant and what it means to Crowder, what it means to our service area, and also what it means to you as a Crowder family member. So as we get started, I believe I know everybody here, but if not, my name is Keith Richard Zoromski. I am not named after the member of the Rolling Stones, despite what my mother says. I am the newly bestowed Title III Activities Director and Curriculum Specialist, which I was trying to make into an acronym, but doesn't really make me sound very intelligent with that. As you know, Kathy Collier, our grant specialist, is serving as our project manager for this grant. And for the next 5 years, you're going to have images of Title III going through your mind every night as you go to sleep, or it's just one of the two of us. So a lot of you have some background knowledge, and some of us, you even told me, you're like, I really have no idea what's going on right now. So our goal is to just give you a basic overview, taking from the abstract of the Title III grant, and that way you can see how it may apply to you or the students that you work with. So the one word that I want you to take away today is connect. If you take away anything from this, it's connect. Everything about this Title III grant is connect. Whether we're connecting students, we're connecting staff, we're connecting resources, we're digitally connecting. Everything comes down to the one word, connect. And that's literally the title of our proposed plan within the grant that was accepted. So Title III is all about supporting connect. With this, it's a project that it's parallel to the guided pathways that Dr. Methvin's been talking to us over the past few years and as we've gone through our steering committees and our vision efforts. And with this, what's going to happen is that this model is going to basically see how can we guide them, not hand-holding. That's the thing in higher ed. We think, well, we can't hold their hand. They have to figure this out for themselves. Yes, but a first-generation college student doesn't necessarily know how to do that. And they run into roadblocks that sometimes aren't always within their control. So the guided pathways model is going to take away unnecessary courses. Yeah, it's offered in the catalog, and it sounds cool, and your friends are taking it. But guess what? That actually delayed you 3 credits from actually getting your degree. Delays when courses are full or not offered. Oh, sorry, we only offer that every other fall, and you didn't know that. Withdrawals, no credit repeats, and change majors. Those are things within our circle of influence that we can help streamline for students to be able to be retained, to have persistence year over year, and to be more successful in 4 semesters towards graduation. So what this is going to do is promote effective advising. Not that we don't already have effective advising, but in a way that attaches an advisor to a particular set of students and intentionally follows them through their 4 semesters here. Full-time enrollment rather than semester full-time, semester not full-time, and back and forth. Block scheduling. Many of you with high school students know that a lot of the high schools will do, okay, you're going to have this class and you're going to have it longer, but you have it every other day. Now with this, some of us are thinking, well, we essentially already offer block scheduling. Yes, but not as much in 8-week offerings with compressed schedules that we'll be overlapping those with. With that, we're going to include more feedback and progress, and especially for the CTE programs, career and technical education, we're going to intentionally link in links to the workplace to associate, this is what you're doing, this is why you're doing it, this employer already knows that you're doing it, and this employer already wants you, but we need to finish here first. So they see the intention of it, they see the purpose of it, and then they have the employer already lined up for them. So with that, all of this is designed hand in hand with our strategic plan. They're like BFFs, peanut butter and jelly, Batman and Robin, salt and pepper, or pepper, your choice. Where you're probably going to be getting calls, emails, messenger pigeons, smoke signals, Pony Express, some kind of communication from me, is in what's something that's going to be called UConnect. UConnect is what we've decided to name our cohorts, where it's UConnect, well, to the college, to an advisor, to an instructor, to the network, to resources, whatever is needed to a future employer. you connect. We talk about how they belong, but until you connect, you don't feel that you belong. So the goal of these cohorts is going to say, you know what? We're going to take 22 general ed courses. That's going to get you through. No distractions. Everything for our new motor numbers is fully transferable. And we're going to kind of review those classes to work with you. We're going to try to make it more compressed delivery with 8-week sections. We're going to see if we can increase interactivity, collaboration, and contextualization of all of these courses for future opportunities. And so with this, and kind of making a learning community where you have the same people in the same classes and you can rely on each other, very similar to what our nursing program already does now. That you go through the highs and lows together, but you're much more likely to have somebody else intervene with you if there's a problem. Rather than falling between the cracks, you have more people as your support system within that. So with that, students are going to be able to more likely complete their AA in 4 semesters. We're also going to add in something that I know has been tried, and we're going to really try to get it off the ground this time because, well, we have to, is supplemental instruction. Anybody in here, when they were in college, have supplemental instruction where it was a either mandatory or optional study group associated with a class? What will often happen is that we're going to have a high-achieving student, or maybe a recent graduate, and they're going to communicate with that instructor and essentially say, okay, I know you're working on this paper, here to help and let you go through that. I know today you talked about the War of 1812, so let's go through that here together. So they're going to have a built-in cohort with a built-in instructional aid to support their efforts through their general studies program. So you can expect to hear more about this because our UConnect cohort pilot will begin this fall semester. And we will start enrolling them when open enrollment begins in April. Lisa, question?
Are you going to be paying supplemental instructors
Yes.
minimum wage or more?
Details to come.
Okay. I'm just thinking.
Is that fair?
That's another thing about
That's fair. So details to come. To be honest, within the grant, we have different timetables to accomplish different tasks. That's set up more for April, May, because then we can plan accordingly for the next year. Glad you asked, though. But we're also going to work, as I already mentioned, with career and technical education. I grew up the son of a mechanic, and it was in the 1980s where it was my dad saying, I want you to go to college so you don't have to do this. I do it because I have to. I want you to have options. And I did, and that's why most of us are here, because we wanted to pursue and have different options. But the pendulum's kind of coming back the other way. Not that a degree doesn't give you the options, but there is such a demand in career and technical education that's not being fulfilled with above average wages immediately paying out and empty positions. So now my father, that was the mechanic, is now the maintenance manager. He can't get enough people to work in his plant because we've seen this shift. And that's where community colleges come in. This is where we have a different role than our university partners, that we're going to be able to help fill that demand, not only for Missouri, but the 4-state area through these opportunities where with Connect, we're going to try to say, okay, we know that you're already working full time. And you might not be able to just clear your schedule and come and do this for 4 years, or for 2 years, for 4 semesters. But what if we, in a compressed schedule, gave you 8 weeks at a time? Or that you got this one credential and you kept working, and you got promoted at work, and then you got another credential. The curriculum committee's already been working on these stackable credentials with our Career Center in Joplin. Really, a lot of this Title III work is stuff that we were already doing. We're ahead of the game. We're just going to overlap our efforts with it. Connect infrastructure. Now, this is the area that I can't say that I'm going to have a lot of influence, but this is the area that's going to truly impact all of us. Show of hands, how many of you have had trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi at some point? It's, you know, we can make light of it, but when you're a student taking a quiz on Blackboard, it's frustrating. And if you're a first semester freshman and you fail your first quiz because it doesn't connect, are you really anxious to go into week 2? Now, that might be small, but it's the fact that how can students be effective if professionally we even have trouble being effective with our technological infrastructure here on campus? The Connect opportunity within the Title III grant is going to address that. Now, there's going to be a timetable, so don't quote me on Monday and you're like, hey, I only have 2 bars. What's going on here? There's going to be a timetable set out that's going to improve our infrastructure for wireless. It's also going to improve our technology within the classrooms with larger monitors replacing outdated smartboards. And this is going to begin in Neosho, but then also continue to our off-site partners. Connect PD. Well, you're here, so you already know that this is something that we're offering. Connect is not just going to be here, we're offering this for students. Hey, you got a TV as a monitor, and you now get better reception on Wi-Fi. Go forth and conquer, my children. We're looking to professionally develop throughout this entire grant. Even starting next week, we're going to have a Title III series. It's just going to be a short 4-week series. I'm not going to ask people to commit for a whole academic year or through the summer or anything else. It's a 4-short series, and no, there's no door prizes or certificates or anything else, but it's going to be aimed at, this is a high demand area for what we're looking for developments. This is something that we're going to be able to track and immediately associate with the courses that we're rolling out in a compressed schedule. And you're like, well, I'm not going to be teaching one of those. This is not limited to only those who are going to be teaching those courses. Effective instruction in the classroom, more effective instruction online. We're going to be able to have sessions to help advisors understand you're a perfect candidate for this UConnect program. Here's how we're going to get you in. So that's going to be something that you see ongoing that myself, or per the grant, we have honorariums that are going to be set to bring in experts from various areas, not only in general education, pedagogy, best practices, but also career and technical education to be able to address the entire college at different times, such as an all-staff day, Dr. Meth, remind me the name of the day that we did.
Well, you know, we need a good name for that day, but anyway, because we hadn't, all staff day was taken, so what do we call it? I can't remember.
It was college-wide in-service.
Yeah, college-wide PD is what we've been saying, yeah.
So a lot of these efforts
It's a
will
better name.
will overlap, but the Connect opportunity looks to only enhance what we're already doing. Now, the personnel will not necessarily be, you see 12 new people and new faces coming in. Bob Mellon has been hired as our technology specialist that you see there in the bottom right-hand corner, who will be assisting us with those efforts. I've remaining in my social science division chair opportunity, but I'm no longer the history instructor. I'm serving as the activities director and curriculum specialist that's going to be helping implement many of these measures that we've already spoken on. I introduce Kathy as our Title III project manager, and beginning in year 3, we're going to have a career and technical education advising specialist, somebody to help us on that end. But as it is a phased rollout, we're not implementing that position immediately. That's going to be continuing in year 3 per the grant schedule. Now this is where I'm going to plead ignorance and turn it over to Kathy with the budget. Kathy, they're all yours.
Well, this is where I get to be called buzzkill. That's what I do best. We wanted you to, as you've seen from the newsletter that's coming out, we want to make sure that everybody knows what's coming down the pipe, so that you walk in on Monday and, well, Stephen, you can say your room's been changed. We want to kind of give you a heads up about things that are coming, and Keith is going to have that in the newsletter too. But basically, we wanted to give you a breakdown of what the biggest amounts of the budgets are for, so you can see, we've got a significant amount of money. There's the total amount of the grant. But look how much money is going on equipment. If it were not for this grant, Crowder couldn't do this. I mean, we'd probably find a way, but it wouldn't be getting done in the next 3 years. So this is how things are going to kind of roll out. We're going to start year 1 here in Neosho on the main campus. Year 2, we'll focus in Webb City. Year 3, Cassville. Year 4, Nevada. And then year 5, McDonald County. It's already all planned out, and there's certain things that are going to be rolled out, and I know Stephen can speak to. He's been really good about giving us a schedule and helping us get this in the newsletter about when things are going to happen. So Connect is communication as well. Supplies. There's a lot of money in supplies. When we were talking about, we're going to do 44 classrooms that are going to move from smart boards to the big TVs. And they're smart TVs? Yeah, okay. So anyway, this is what's planned here at the main campus. We're going to do 6 classrooms in Cassville, and you can see Webb City and Nevada. And then the contractual, when Keith was talking about faculty development, professional development, we've got that. And then you asked about the
Supplemental instruction
leaders, we've got that, and then cybersecurity support. So it's all pretty much budgeted already. And so we're just going to stay within our budget and stretch that dollar as far as we can, because nobody does stretching a dollar better than Crowder.
I did have someone ask me recently why McDonald County does not listed on the supplies. It was intentionally written into the grant that being our newest campus with the newest equipment, that it would not be as prudent to replace what was already working effectively. We're not leaving out Aaron intentionally. We'll make fun of him in different ways at different times. So we're going to offer questions later, but specifically questions on the budget for Kathy. Okay, let's continue on. So with this, some of the frequently asked questions that I've been asked on campus since taking over this role start with this. Is Connect only Neosho? No. The 5-year plan will take it elsewhere, but it starts in Neosho on the central campus and then grows from there. So those of you who work on other campuses or have colleagues who work on other campuses, we don't want them to feel left out. It's the intention of how the funds are released to go from the central campus then to the off-site centers. How long will the Title III grant be implemented? It's a 5-year grant that's going to run from 2017 to 2022. I believe, is it the month of October? Is that correct?
It
So,
doesn't run on a fiscal year like Crowder does, it's offset.
or even an academic calendar year, just so something to be aware of. And the last question that I have met people that I didn't even know worked here came up and asked me, are additional funds available for Title III to help me in my position? Unfortunately, no, there's not just extra money, that there's any kind of slush fund. Everything is already allocated and budgeted for a significant purpose. But the goal was written that the Title III grant and the Connect effort theoretically will positively impact every single Crowder employee and every single Crowder student as it's fully rolled out with that. Now, with this, a lot of us ask, well, okay, what can I do? In my role, I'm not sure how I can help. Well, as we were refreshed on all staff day with servant leadership, everyone can be a servant leader in their own position in their own way. You can be a Title III advocate in your own position and in your own way. So how can I support the Connect project? How can I support Title III? I want to see this be successful, so Crowder's successful. Well, one, we send out a monthly newsletter. And I know that we get bogged down with emails, but when you see that come through with Kathy, 2 minutes out of your day to go through, and we're going to hit the high points so you can know the progress that's being made. We put what we're working on, what we've obtained and finished, and what we're still looking to get to in a one-sheet simple format. Connect with others by saying, you know what? I know that you have a child that's graduating high school in 2018. When they go to open enrollment at Crowder, you should have them ask about the UConnect opportunity. They're going to be set in a cohort with people. They're going to have one advisor for no more than 50 students. They're going to have supplemental instruction. Everything is figured out to help them get through. It's not necessarily holding your hand. It's taking out all the distractions, especially if that parent has a first-generation child that's coming to college. My parents, my mom was a homemaker, which is a domestic engineer and a very difficult job. And it was at a time where, my dad worked as a mechanic. And they had their traditional roles. But when it came time for me to go to college, they're like, we love you, good luck. If you fail something, you have to pay for it again, son. That was literally my advice as I left. And it was good advice. But I make light, but that was the limit of what they knew. They didn't notice it. We'll go ask this advisor. We'll ask for this. Well, did you know you can do this? If you're a work study, you can get paid and you're on campus between classes. They didn't have that experience by just going to college. Well, with this, we're going to be able to immediately attach them to every single resource that Crowder has available, streamlined through one advisor with this. They'll come in through, all very different advisors who will enroll them, and then after that, then they'll be associated with me as their activities director and curriculum specialist, and then we're going to be able to connect them with whatever's needed throughout their time as they remain in the cohort. Offer some flexibility and patience if Stephen comes in and he's in a hard hat and you're like, is this the village people? You're like, no, I'm putting up one of these TVs. You're going to be notified, but there might be some minor disruption to your work space at a time or two. We ask for your flexibility and patience with it, and it's the don't shoot the messenger. Don't follow him out to his car and be like, is that up yet? It's the type of thing that, in a short amount of time, we're going to be able to get through this. And really, if you have grant-related ideas, professional development, an expert speaker, something that you think would help with supplemental instruction, I can't say I'm an expert at all of these, but with you, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. It's the fact that I'm able to take your ideas and further perpetuate them through this Title III opportunity, and I want you to get all the credit, but I need your help and ideas as well. So if there's something that comes up, or we've mentioned these things, and of course it doesn't have to be today, but it's the type of thing that we want you to feed into this. Yes, our hands are tied through different federal regulations and all those types of things, but we do have a lot of reign for how we're going to implement professional development, how we're going to support students, and how we're going to make this a successful effort. Now, the one thing I did skip was at the bottom there. I have rambled a whole lot. That's what happens when you have 2 Mountain Dews for lunch. Are there any questions of things that we've mentioned and you're not quite sure yet? Yes, James.
My dad's not here.
Okay.
I'll ask for him.
Yes, James Paul.
Yes. How will the original general studies cohort be chosen? How are we going to get those kids? Where are they coming from?
Well,
Who's gonna
since
get
we're on video, I'm going to say it's not like the Hunger Games. It's not. No, I'm kidding. What's going to happen
Well, it
is,
is Hunger Games.
yeah, we're still rolling out with that enrollment plan. But as of right now, so as this video is watched later, January 28th, 2018, the intentional plan is that the grant will not allow us to necessarily recruit or have outreach, but as they come to us, we can present them with the idea.
When we say we, who are we discussing? I'm just curious. I mean, the kids are coming. How are we
Yes.
going to funnel them correctly? I want to help. I want to know how to help.
What's going to happen is that we're going to provide advisor training, so everybody, I'm going to be presenting at the March
update.
9th advisement update, so we'll get everybody, and even at the other campuses, it might not be coming for 2 years, but you're going to know, a
Right.
year or two ahead of time. And you'll be the ones that'll have a student come in and be like, well, I don't have any dual credit, I'm a traditional student, I want to get. I have an opportunity for you.
Okay.
And you're going to have to, I don't want to say be the salesperson, but you're going to have to be the spokesperson of an opportunity that they have an interest in. We're not going to make them go through any additional tests or anything else. We do already know that they can't already have dual credit earn. So that's going to limit, because that would take them out of being full-time within the cohort at different times. Now that may change. We may have a pilot opportunity later where we have some that already have maybe up to 15 credits. But for this fall, it'll be your true freshman. Doesn't matter on age. They could be a true freshman and they're 35 years old, but a true first semester freshman with no prior credit or no prior transferable credit.
College ready.
That's what I was gonna
And that is what the steering committee has to determine, because if they're not college ready for math or what's rolling out for communication arts, we're going to have to add in then a lab, which will then put them over other credits, and we can't take anything away. But it might be they could maybe be not for math, but for communication arts. That's what we're still having to decide. But as of right now, the prime candidate is college ready. We're going to have 2 cohorts of 25 each. And so our goal is to fill this 50 through advisors. And when they enroll them, it'll already be a set schedule. The classes will be set and blocked out so people can't open and enroll and just join into them. And we'll have you add me as the second advisor, and so then that way I'll automatically be able to go through and find them. So then once the semester starts, then I'll be associated with them. JP.
Okay, so the advisors are still, if someone says, yes, sign me up.
Yes.
Whoever the advisor is still going to put them in.
Correct.
Those.
Because
So everyone needs to know, on training, remind them that about adding the advisor, you as the second advisor, because that's not how advisors
Yes.
get started.
And how I've done this is I'm going to multi-layer it, because essentially we have to scaffold ourselves to understand this new process for this effort. So,
Multi-layer scaffold, there's too many metaphors.
sorry, at the beginning of March, one of the Title III series is going to be on advising for the UConnect. I'm going to have that here on the Neo Show campus, invite all of my favorite advisors, and Jessica. And I'm scared. Yeah, teasing. We're going to invite all the advisors, and then that way, that can kind of be my dry run, and then that way, the questions that you see and the problems you come up, we can then address those before then the March 9th meeting.
Gotcha.
To then be able to broadly broadcast that out to have a full understanding.
Right.
And then as a pilot, that may change then for in the future, but this cohort will then be scheduled in the spring. We won't start a new cohort until fall of 19, giving us a calendar year essentially to make changes as needed.
And I'd like to add something to that. The not so fun part about this is that we do have to track these students. We have outcomes that we have to deliver and we have to report on them. So it's very important that we all are on the same page. And what's going to be great is we've got a database that is going to be tied to Genzabar, and we'll have another acronym out there for us to help pull data so we're not doing manual
Skynet.
things. So Don't be surprised that, when we start, when we do this, we get our folks identified. We may be coming to you and asking you information if there's something missing or something like that, because we do have to follow them through the life of the grant.
And that's
each new
where,
cohort will require the same thing.
and that's,
Even once they graduate?
Title III is probably one of the few grants that we don't have to follow them after they graduate. And I say that, it could change. You just don't know.
Abby gets to follow them though.
yeah. And we look to support that. Jessica?
This may be more of a March question, but do we have an idea of the schedule? And I might have missed this since I was late, sorry.
Yes and no. We know what the courses are going to be. We're still working on the templates. I'm going to get the division chairs together and schedule it out. You may remember Academic Affairs working with the Student Success Center. They also worked with my steering committee, and they basically made a hybrid one, and that's what we proposed. The smart thing is, though, I don't know who this person gets credit, but they wrote per anything changing in the state of Missouri. And then they come and change the Core 42, which essentially says, well, we can shuffle some things, but we're also going to try to stay to that to show that, this is what was written into the grant. We already had experts on campus feed into this. It'll include, for the first 8 weeks, college orientation, English 101, and computer applications. In the second 8 weeks, it's going to have English 102 and quantitative reasoning. The thought with computer applications was, with the Excel, it's going to feed into quantitative reasoning, and with the Microsoft Word, it's going to help them with their word processing in both English 101 and 102. And you're like, that's a pretty full semester. It is, but we give those in 16-week blocks all the time. The theory of this is that, okay, you really only have 2 or 3 classes to focus on at a given time. Yes, it's compressed. It's the same schedule. We're not watering down the expectations. We're simply looking at a way of how can we get you through this in a guided pathway. How can we do this to minimize other distractions and work with you with supplemental instruction to help you get through the same amount of credits, but in this block type manner? Will this pose some challenges for, say, a class such as 102 with their large paperwork? Yes, and that's where I'm going to be working with these instructors. But if you think about it, we already offer it in the summer. A lot of these classes, it's not as if we don't offer in 8 weeks. It's just trying to find that format to make it work. And that's where I'm going to be approaching division chairs who have then candidates of instructors who are already interested and willing, maybe already teaching a compressed schedule, but it's not going to be a requirement. We're going to work with people to help compress their schedules as interested. So I don't want you to think that any instructor's left out if they have not taught in an 8-week block to this date. Does that answer your question, Jessica?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, but that's 13 hours that you listed.
I'm forgetting a class then.
Well, that was my question. Are you looking at a summer or?
No, I forgot a class. The other one is, it's in the second. Speech. I'm sorry.
In the second, for second 8 weeks.
In the second 8 weeks.
It was QR speech and what?
English 102.
English
One,
1,
two?
yep. And quantitative reasoning.
Are you
Yes.
taking them through the 42-hour core and it only, or if not, how will you deal with electives in this?
We're only going to go through the, well, part of it is within the 42-hour core. That's not even an AA. We're going to have still electives that are still highly transferable. And I know we've said, hey, our transfer agreements are out the window, but it's not as if Missouri Southern just instantly said, nope, we're not going to accept this philosophy or anything else. We're sticking with the 42 core, so we know that that's fully transferable. And the electives that the Student Success Center, my steering committee, have kind of suggested towards have all been very transferable courses to all of our university partners.
Will you be taking the same electives as well?
Yes. And now that is part of it because there are some interest with that, but we're also picking ones where, say for example in my area, we have some students that love world religions because they love to just be more well-rounded, well-cultured. We have some students that find that very difficult, very uninteresting, maybe just not associated with what they're interested in. So we're trying to stick with general studies courses that have a larger appeal, are fully transferable, but give them the rounded education that our Crowder mission looks to. But that is part of the challenge, and that's part of it in a pilot was, okay, we got to semester 3, and the moment they had to take sociology, half of them dropped. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but in a pilot, we don't know.
So will the students be, are they allowed to leave it? Because as an advisor, my thoughts are, let's say they're general studies and then they've determined I want to be criminal justice.
Yes.
And now I don't want to take all those classes.
They can fully leave at any time.
Okay. And that's not good for your.
No, but in a pilot, that would tell us that does there need to be some other incentive? And so we would like to think that we're selling a product that's going to make them successful, but ultimately, we know there's going to be a natural arbitration rate. Financial aid, I'm moving, I got married, I'm going into the Army. We already don't graduate 100%, but it's the fact that we're looking to increase that graduation rate, that persistence rate. So the way I look at it is that, no, it's not good, but if we're still making positive trends, then we're moving in the right direction.
Sure.
Yes?
So, I forgot what I was going to, so if they fail something or
Yes.
withdraw from something, are
Yep.
they just out? There's no way to get back in? Or-
That's what we're still working on, is whether through an online option or in the summer, then they could maintain in the cohort.
Okay.
Because, for example, let's say in the first semester, we pick some crazy speech teacher, JP. And, yeah, exactly. He fails all the students that wear khakis and ties because they remind him of me, and and those students fail. That doesn't mean that they can't enroll in the next semester. They couldn't take it online. They could still stay in the cohort. That's where I, as an advisor, would then have to help them of, okay, we can take this, or let's take it online or anything else. Our goal is to maintain that full-time status and have a plan, whereas the students who don't connect with an advisor are like, I failed speech, forget this. It's we're going to intervene, catch you early. Whoa, that isn't that big of a deal. We offer it in the summer. You can take it online and stay in the cohort. Yeah, it'll be 18 hours next semester, but then you're back on track. And that's where it's a case-by-case, as you advisors know, with advising each student. Now, Abby, was I just reading your lips and you said we should offer some kind of scholarship?
Well, no, I
Okay.
said something about a gen ed certificate.
A certificate.
Yeah. Stephanie's like, no.
Yeah, transferability problem. So bad lip reading there. Yes,
Are you offering this as a 2-day week, 4-day week, 5-day week?
that's what I'm getting together with the division chairs to try to do. With the science classes, in an 8-week, that semester it may be unavoidable to go most of the week. Part of it is an 8-week. Is it possible that the first 8 weeks are only Tuesday, Thursday, and then the second 8 weeks are 4 days a week? But then that wreaks havoc with their work schedules and life schedules. So our goal is to try to make it as consistent, where it's like, okay, English 101 is going to meet Tuesday, Thursday. It's going to have a flex component, et cetera, and then the second 8 weeks, then it's going to meet then at that same time. We're looking to try to replace, but sometimes it'll be 3 classes to 2 classes or whatever else. But that's another challenge that we're going to have to face. Ladies first.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned scholarship. Is that an option to offer?
Steering committee is looking at different opportunities. Obviously, when you tie money in, then it creates a whole nother, opens a Pandora's box. So I don't feel comfortable speaking on the possibility of that, positive or negative, but those conversations are taking place. JP.
I'm just thinking about that. Well, we do have 2-day-a-week science classes, but that involves flex. Is flex a possibility?
Yes, the grant does not say that we can't offer flex or online. We were in a pretty general consensus that first semester we're not putting an online class.
Right.
We're looking to say, okay, it might be, in the semester that you have biology and it's 5 credits, or if it goes down to 4 or anything else too, well, that econ class is going to be online, so then that frees up part of your day. That's where I'm working with the division chairs to try to make that reality, because here's the catch-22. For those of you who advise, and so I want to get them in these days and everything else, and I do too, but it's I got to take this one teacher who's then, that division's going to have less classes, and so it kind of has a ripple effect. So it's really threading a needle to make the schedule that works for the students, but we cannot have it to the detriment of the greater college population by removing the one and only teacher who does physics and not offering that to other students. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And we figured out a way to keep anyone from enrolling in these classes, right?
Yes, there's different ways we're looking at it, whether we have it at 0 and then we add seats. That seems to be probably the easiest without messing with Genzabar or anything else. And then it's just note, hey, Keith, I enrolled them in here, and you already had the set schedule.
Right.
So advisors are going to have a resource sheet. I can't give out advertising flyers. We're not putting it on the web or anything else. But I can give you a color, glossy, very nice with bell tower stock photo imagery that has all of the benefits, says who could be in it, and then the set schedule. And so you're as advisor, hey, I'm gonna let you take this and think about it, or here's what I enrolled you in, and here you go. Sorry, I have something in my eye. I've heard that more than once today. So, good questions. Others? For those of you who worked with me, I don't claim to be somebody who knows everything, but I'm going to give you my word that if there's something that you want to know or want me to find out or want to look into, I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to give this the very best I can because I want this to be successful. Part of this is the more successful the Title III grant is, yes, our students are successful, Crowder's successful, but it opens us up to more opportunities for Title III grants in the future, and that success only perpetuates throughout Crowder's influence in Southwest Missouri. If myself or Kathy can be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to contact us. Kathy, any parting words of wisdom?
I'd just like to say that this is our 4th Title III grant that Crowder's had, and it has had significant impact. And the last grant that we had, you have to wait a year before you can reapply. We're focusing on infrastructure, the internet and the wireless and all that in the dorms and throughout the areas. Last time we spent a lot of money on computer labs and stuff, so this may not be stuff you physically see like you saw last time, but we're making the same kind of impact of probably student satisfaction is probably going to hopefully be greater. And if there's anything in the newsletter, like Keith said, just, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. If there's something you want to see, let us know what we can put in there, because I guess I'm kind of self-serving, but since I thought that was a good way to track what we're doing and make sure that we know what we're doing and everybody open communication. So we're open to ideas.
Any last questions? Anybody looking to burn me in effigy yet? We're good. Okay. Oh, yeah. Kidding aside, we look forward to working with our steering committees. We look forward to working with different divisions, especially our advisors. This will influence the entire college family. So we appreciate you being here, and feel free to share what you've learned today and take it from there. Thanks. Have a great weekend.